Hello students, good morning to all of you. I Richard Saxena, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical Engineering. Welcome you all in this lecture, that is of Electrical Machine 1, code W205 and unit number 3. So previous to this lecture, basically before this lecture, I have started the unit number 3. That is, the topic is DC machine, means title is DC machines. And in the previous lecture, basically, I told you about one thing, that electrical machine one subject is very important in electrical engineering, and this basically deals with the DC machines. Okay, DC machines we are going to study, and if I'm talking about the DC machine, though we have two types of machine. One convert electrical to mechanical, known as motor. Another one convert mechanical to electrical, known as generator. So we having two things, generator and motor both. Okay, I hope you understand. So uh, in my previous lecture, I told you about the basics of electrical machine, the fundamentals basically. So Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction we use for generator action, generating action we can say, and electromagnetic interaction we use for the DC, and Fleming right hand rule for the generator, and Fleming left hand rule for the motor. So later on, I'll tell you or more about this thing, and or we can say the more things we'll discuss regarding the DC machines in my next lecture series, or we can say series of my next lecture. So previously, I basically told you about one thing, that if we have to make the machine, though construction is very necessary part. So in construction, first part is the yoke. First part is what? Yoke. In that yoke, basically, it gives the mechanical support to all components in electrical machine, and it carries the flux. It is of high permeability, because if low permeability is there, though we can do not work, the flux cannot generate, because permeability is lower than the flux generation is lower also. So reluctance path will be lower, otherwise the flux creation will be higher if reluctance is lower. Okay, so yoke is there. Then we having field known as stator. So in field we having the pole core, pole shoe, and pole windings. Okay. Then we having the rotating part, that is armature, armature core, armature windings, and armature slots. Okay. Then we having the commutator, which playing an important role basically. If we talk about this thing, okay. So armature is there, and armature is the important part. But after the armature, we are getting the output, that is in the form of AC, bidirection. So we want to convert that bidirection into the unidirection. Though I need what? I need a part that is known as commutator. So commutator is there. I hope you understand about this thing. So commutator. After the commutator, if I am converting the bidirectional current into the unidirectional current, though I have to transfer that current to the terminals. Though I need a brush. So brushes and commutator are the important part of DC machine. Only DC machine. In AC machine, we don't find any commutator. Okay. After that commutator, after that commutator, basically what we use brushes. And if I want to rotate the rotor or armature, we can say, I need shaft, and shaft is just like a rod, and shaft from the both sides we use bearings. Bearings, if bearings are not there, though we cannot easily rotate the armature rotor, we can see. So these are the construction part, which I basically we talked a lot about this thing in my previous lecture. So I hope you understand this thing. Okay. Now, so the last topic which I covered in my previous lecture is the armature windings. Now we have two windings. One winding is placed on the field, and another winding is placed on the armature. Though I am placing a winding on the field is known as former. If it is in the structure of rectangular, though I need a former of rectangular size, I wound a winding on it and directly place on it. So it is known as former wound winding. Okay. Now if I am talking about what? I am talking about the armature winding. So armature winding is basically of two types, lap and wave. Okay. And one thing I want to tell you, that windings which we are using is made up of copper or aluminum. Good conductor of electricity is copper, but sometimes we use aluminum for the cost cutting, or we can say cheaper cost. So we use this. Now, now the objective. of this lecture means I want to deliver this lecture to you having some objective. So first objective is this: help the students to understand about the different types of windings using DC machines. We also call it as DC windings. We have two types of winding, DC and AC. Though we are talking about the DC machine, so in this lecture I'll tell you about the DC machine windings or DC windings we can say. So what type of DC winding we have, or which type of DC winding we have, how we construct it, what are the important consideration if I want to make lab, I want to make wave, and many more we can say. Now make student familiar with the construction of different, okay, different of windings used in DC machines. Different of windings used in DC machines. Now, starting from here, DC windings. Now, if I'm talking about the DC windings, so DC windings, simplex and duplex winding, lap and wave windings. Basic terms related to armature windings means lap and wave both, dummy coils and equalizer connections. So we talked on this topic today. In my lecture, I'll talk you about this thing, that is the uh, different types, you can say, different of the DC windings we have. So we'll talk about this thing. Now the simplex, duplex winding, lap and wave winding, basic terms related to armature windings, dummy coils and equalizer connections. Now taking one by one, now DC windings. If I am talking about the DC winding, my dear students, so first is the lap windings. What is it? Lap windings. Now armature winding are mainly of two types, lap and wave. Now one thing I want to clear in the starting, that is very basic, my dear students. I know that all of you played a game of race, basically the car race. So in that car race, we having lap one. We have to first cover the lap one, then cover the lap two, then cover the lap three, then lap four, lap five, lap six, lap seven, lap eight, so on. So I have to cover all the laps, basically one by one by one by one. So in this lap, we are talking about one, two, three, four in a continuous or progressive manner, in a continuous manner. Now, if I'm talking about the wave, so if I'm talking about the wave, my dear students, so DC doesn't have any wave. It's a single line, a constant line, or a constant graph. But if I'm talking about the AC, so AC having a wave that is of sine wave, and it is basically positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. So we can say two things: one, two, one, two, one, two. So in wave, we are basically dividing into two parts: one, then two, one, then two. But in lab, we are in the continuous manner. So that is the basics. Now, lap winding is the winding in which successive coils overlap each other. Overlap each other. Okay. It is named lap winding because it doubles or laps back with its succeeding coil. Lap backs with its succeeding coil, or we can say doubles, overlapping. So we can say overlapping the winding or laps back with its succeeding coils. Okay. Now, in this winding, the finishing end of the one coil is connected to commutator segment. Now, my dear student, as I earlier told you in my previous lecture, that commutator is a very important part. It behaves just like a rectifier. And what basically the commutator do? What the commutator do basically? Commutator convert bidirectional current into unidirectional. Convert bidirectional current into unidirectional current. So if I want to convert bidirectional current into unidirectional current, okay, though I need a something, some element, some component, some device, that is known as what? That is your commutator. So in commutator, with the help of that commutator segment, we having lugs. That lugs connected to the commutator, we can say armature windings like this. This is the commutator lug, and we are connected armature windings. So that is why I am saying this thing. Okay, in this winding, the finishing end of one coil is connected to one commutator segment, and that commutator segment we have connected four or two or six or eight, even number of brushes. Okay, segment, and the starting end of next coil situated under the same port, and connected with some commutator segment with same, the commutator segment we have, so we connected with the same commutator segment. Okay, now moving forward, It is a very simple construction, my dear student. Now see here, it is a lap windings, a simple construction. Now this is coil 1, this is coil 2. This is the north pole, this is the south pole. Now this is conductor. Each turn consists of two conductor. One thing I want to tell you in a starting, because it is very basic. If I am talking about a one turn, see this, one turn. See in this also, one turn. It look like this, one turn. So this is also behaving a conductor, this is also behaving like a conductor. So one turn always consists of two conductors. One turn always consists of how many conductors? Two conductors. So in this we having a conductor coil 1, coil 2 connected between the north and south pole. Okay, and finishing end of one coil. This is the finishing end. Now one coil is basically like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. So dashed, this dash portion is the ending of first coil, and this dash portion is the ending of second coil. Okay, now finishing end of the one coil. Now here, this is the starting end of the next coil, and this is the finishing end of the second coil. So we are connecting like this. Connecting like this means overlapping. And these are the commutator segments. These are what? The commutator segments, which I represent as a 1, 2, 3. So these are what, my dear student? These are the commutator segment in which we want to connect the lap winding, and we are connecting the lap winding. So I hope you understand. Now moving forward, simplex lap. A simplex lap wave, we can say, a winding in which number of parallel paths between the brushes, in which the number of parallel paths we having between the brushes is equal to the number of poles. Between the brushes is equal to the number of poles. Number of poles. So in this, we can say the lap winding or wave winding, there is one thing, A. Denote A. A is the number of parallel paths available in armature core. Number of parallel paths available in the armature core, or we can say the parallel path, or we can say the slots. So if I am talking about the lap winding, so the parallel path A always equal to the number of poles, is equal to the number of poles. So we can represent A is equals to P in the lap winding, that is simplex lap winding. A is equals to P. But if I am talking about the wave winding, though, my dear student, 1, 2, 1, 2, only two things are there. So A is always equals to the 2. But if I am talking about the lap winding, though A is equals to P. Okay, and if I am talking about the armature winding, it is always A is equals to 2. So I hope you better understand. Now, a winding in which number of parallel paths between the flux brushes is equal to number of poles is called simplex line. Now see, this is I am making, this is I am making. So it is in the one, that is north pole, and it is in the south pole. So we can say it is look like a simplex leaf winding. Okay, so I hope you understand. Now, duplex lap winding. We can say simplex duplex, simplex and duplex. Now, a winding in which the number of parallel paths between the brushes, number of parallel paths between the brushes is twice the number of poles. Is twice the number of poles. In simplex, we have in single number of poles, we can say. But if I am converting into twice, parallel path between the brushes is twice the number of poles, is called duplex lap. It's called what? Duplex lap winding. It is here. These are the duplex. See, duplex. So we can say duplex lap winding. 1, 2, 3 are the commutator segment. So I hope you understand one thing. In simplex and duplex lap winding, simplex we having the one path. We can say this one, which number of parallel path between the brushes is equal to the number of poles. Is equal to the what, my dear student? Number of poles. Is called simplex lap winding. Okay. But if I am talking about the winding, if I am talking about the duplex, so a winding in which number of parallel paths between the brushes is twice the number of poles. Is what? Twice the number of poles is called duplex lap winding. Is already called duplex lap winding. So I hope you understand. Now, these are the some important terms related to lap winding. Related to lap winding, my dear student. Now, if I am considering Z, Z always we represent or express for the conductors. in armature. Number of conductors in armature. The number conductors we can say. Okay, the number conductors. How many conductors we have? P always for the number of poles. P is for number of poles. YB is basically the back pitch. YB is what? Back pitch. YF is always the front pitch. Front pitch. C is the commutator pitch on which we are connecting the ends. Average pole pitch distance. Now pole pitch we can say the distance between the two adjacent poles. Okay, and basically if I'm talking about the coil pitch, so coil pitch is the gap between starting and ending it. The distance between the two poles, for example these are the two poles, the distance between the two poles adjacent known as pole pitch. And we're having the winding like this. So starting and ending, the distance between two poles is known as coil pitch. Okay, so YB is the back pitch, YF is what? The front pitch, YC is the commutator pitch, Y is the average pole pitch. Y is what? The average pole pitch. YP pole pitch. And YR is the resultant pitch. The resultant pitch which we want. So YB is equals to YF means back pitch is equals to the front pitch plus minus 2M. 2M means multiplicity of winding. How many windings we have? So multiplicity for the winding. So if I am considering the simple lap winding, which I told you earlier, which I basically uh, showed you in the earlier image, that is what is simplex, what is duplex. So for the simplex lap winding, we use M is equals to 1. So YF is equals to plus M1M minus 1M, or what we can say for the simplex, and 2 plus 2 and minus 2 we use for the duplex. Okay, so YB, that is back pitch, is always greater than the front pitch, you can say, for progressive lap winding. For progressive lap winding where YC is equals to 1 means commutator pitch always is equals to 1. Okay, YB is less than YF means back pitch is always less than the front pitch for retrogressive. For what? Retrogressive lap winding. Retrogressive lap winding, that is YC is equals to minus 1. YC is equals to, that is commutator pitch is equals to minus 1. Okay, now resultant pitch. If I am talking about the resultant pitch, so resultant pitch is always YB minus YF. Front pitch minus back pitch is equals to the 2M. We can calculate from here, is equals to the 2M. Okay, that is 2 multiplicity of winding. So for progressive, back pitch is always greater than the front pitch. For retrogressive, back pitch is always greater than the front pitch, and commutator pitch will be 1 for progressive, and commutator pitch is minus 1 for the retrogressive, and resultant pitch is always the difference of these two pitches is equals to 2M. Okay, so I hope you understand these are the important terms, you can say, relate to the lap winding. Okay, now moving forward, wave windings. Now we are talking about the what, my dear student? Wave windings. So wave winding is one type of armature winding. It is basically the one type of armature winding. In this winding, the end of the one coil, the end of the one coil is connected to the starting of another coil. The end of the one coil is connected to the starting of another coil. What is it, my dear student? It is basically, in this winding, the end of one coil, the end of what? One coil is connected to the starting of the another coil. One coil end is connected to the starting means no overlapping. Now this is the winding connecting here, end coil of 1 connecting with the coil 2 starting of 1 2 1 2 like this. Okay, so coil of the same polarity as that of the first coil. So it's connected to the starting of another coil of same polarity. Same polarity means plus plus minus minus. So polarity as that of the first coil, as similar to that of the first coil. Okay, now the winding forms a wave with its coil. The winding forms what? Wave with its coil. That is why it is named as wave winding. Now it is making a wave winding. It is making a wave like this. So it is also called series winding because its coils are connected in series. The coils are connected series. So we can call it as what? We can call as the series winding. So see here, my dear student, these are the commutator segment. This is a wave winding I am showing here. This is coil A connected from the starting and ending end connected with the starting of the second coil. This one north south, and these are the basically the poles, basically binding, and we having representing as a poles north south. Okay, so I hope you understand. Wave winding is one type of armature winding. In this winding, the end of the one coil is connected to the starting of the another coil of same polarity. Of which polarity? Same polarity as that of the first coil. As that of the two coils are there. Now I'm connecting the ending out of this coil with the starting of the second coil. So same polarity will be there. No negative polarity. Same polarity will be there. I hope you understand. The winding forms a wave with its coil. Winding form is basically it's forming like what? It is forming in the wave. That is why its name is, or we can say, it called as wave winding. It is also called series winding because its coils are connected in series, and these coils are connected in series manner. So I hope you understand. Now, progressive winding. Progressive winding. If after one round of armature the coil falls in a slot right, after one round of armature like this, the coil falls in a slot right. This falls in a slot right to its starting slots. Okay, the winding is called progressive wave winding. It is also like this. We can say it is known as progressive. Now see here, we having this end. This is one winding, and this is the another winding. So it is basically the slot right to the its starting slot. This is the starting slot. So the winding is called progressive. You can call as progressive. See here, we are moving like this, right to the first conductor, right to the first conductor. Just look at right to the first conductor. The winding is called progressive winding. What we called as, my dear student, the progressive wave winding. Okay, in which one round of the armature the coil falls in a slot right to its starting slot. To its starting slot, the winding is called progressive wave winding. I hope you understand. Now, if after one round of armature the coil falls in slot left to its starting slot winging, slot the winging basically is called is called retrogressive wave winding. Is called what? Retrogressive. In the first case, we are progressive, now moving forward. But if I am talking about retrogressive, it is backward. We can say. So in this we having forward, in this we having what? Backward. So we having the slot the winding, winging, we can say wing, in this called retrogressive wave. It's called what, my dear student? Retrogressive wave. I hope you understand. Now, see important terms related to the wave band. Now see here, if I am talking about the commutator, so this is the commutator pitch. This is what? The commutator slot or commutator pitch. And this is basically the back pitch, and this is known as the front pitch. And this is the total addition of these two is called the resultant pitch. If addition is there, we can say it is wave. If subtraction is there, it is called lap. Okay, one thing is very clear, which we have to always keep in our mind and always try to understand that if the resultant pitch is always the addition of two pitches, that is back or front, then we called as what? What we called as, my dear student? We called as the resultant pitch. If addition is there, then we called as wave winding. If subtraction is there, we called as lap winding. So wave and lap, both windings are there. So in this the wave winding, we can write what? Resultant pitch YR is equals to YB plus YF. Means resultant pitch is equals to back pitch plus front pitch. And if I am talking about the commutator pitch, that is YC is equals to Y back. Half. We are connecting or converting to the half pitch. So in simplest wave winding, back pitch YB and the front pitch YF are both odd and are of same sign. Both odd and are of same sign, back pitch and front pitch. Now back pitch and front pitch are nearly equals to the pole pitch, nearly equals to the what? Pole pitch, and may be equal or differ by plus minus 2. Plus minus 2. Now plus sign we always use for progressive, and minus sign we use for the retrogressive. Plus sign for the progressive, minus sign for the retrogressive. So if I am talking about the wave winding, my dear student, so the resultant pitch is equals to addition of these two. Addition of these two means back pitch and front pitch. Now if I am talking about the commutator pitch, my dear student, so commutator pitch is always be y by 2. Is always what? Y by 2. Now see here. This is the commutator, and wave binding we have. This is commutator pitch. Here we having the back pitch. Here we having the front pitch. Here we have the resultant pitch. So in this resultant we have the addition. But if I am talking about the lap winding, see here. So in this lap winding we are having the subtraction like this. See, we are having the subtraction. See here, my dear student. So in lap winding we are having the subtraction part. But if I am talking about the wave winding, then we have the addition part. Okay, I hope you understand about this thing. Now, dummy coil. Now the word is dummy. The word is dummy. Before this dummy coil, I want to tell you one thing, my dear student. Now we are having two types of coil, two types of basically winding. One is the field winding, another one is the armature winding. So if I am talking about the DC winding, I am talking about the DC winding, or we can say the DC machine winding in another way. So one thing I want to tell my dear student, in field we use the winding which is made up of aluminum or copper, whatever, which type of machine you want to make, heavy duty or low heavy duty, means lower HP or higher HP, because motor always counts in HP, horsepower. That is in Indian standard. We always say that 1 watt is 1 HP is equals to 746 watt. 1 HP is equals to 746 watt. So if I am talking about the 5 HP motor, my dear student, so it is nearby 3.5 kilowatt. Okay, so we can say 3.6, maybe 3.6 kilowatt. I hope you understand. So my dear student, in this DC machine, we having two types of winding. One is placed on field, another one placed on the armature. One which is placed on the field is basically known as field winding, and which placed on the armature is also known as the armature. Now the role, both having some different roles. Field winding is basically known as the exciting coil, or we can say the magnetizing coil, because what we have to do, what we want to do, and what you want to do. Okay, one thing is there, we want to make magnets, and we all know, which I earlier told you in the unit 1 and 2, the permanent magnets we can make, but they are not easily available in the large amount, in the high dimension, huge size, or in larger amount. So we have to make the another objective, another alternate, we can say we have, that is electromagnet. So electromagnet we can make by the help of Biot-Savart law. Means coil is there, we apply current on it. If I am applying current on it, what will happen? The current will be turn, ampere turn will generate it, and ampere turn is there, and we having the reluctance in the core. So ampere turn per reluctance, we can say what? Flux, magnetic field, what you want. Now that role is playing by the field coil. So field coil doesn't having lap and wave type. It is simpler. It is made up of copper for the heavy duty or higher HP. For lower HP, small size machine, we can say we use what? We use the aluminum to saving the cost, to make it cheaper. Okay, so we use what? We use aluminum. I hope you understand. Okay, now, so that coil is known as, or that binding is known as field binding. But my dear student, field binding is simpler. It is very simple, because we having the rectangular structure of pole, electromagnetic pole, so we have to place winding on it. So we make a rectangular structure that is known as former, and we place winding on it and give shape of that former. That is of which type? That is of former. So if former is of rectangular shape, the winding will take a shape of rectangular. So we can directly place on the pole, which I basically showed you in my previous lecture. So I hope you understand. Now the second windings are in armature. So if I am talking about the armature, my dear student, the armature winding is basically of two types, lap and wave. And why we are using the armature winding? Because if I am talking about the generator, one question will basically rise in your mind, or you can say the brainstorming is there, that why we use coil in armature, why we are using these different types of winding in armature, and why armature having some windings. So one thing I want to tell you, my dear student, if I am applying a electromagnetic induction law, that is Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. So if I am talking about the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, my dear student, though I need what? I need to vary the flux, because flux linkage variation is necessary. So if I want to vary the flux, though I need to rotate something, that is armature. So armature cuts the flux, induce an EMF. That is very simple. But but if induced EMF is generated, my dear student, so where we collect that EMF, or where we collect the current of that EMF, closed circuit will be there. Otherwise, if it is open circuit, the always we having EMF. But we want to convert into the voltage, means closed circuit. Now we want to convert to the current. So I need a closed circuit. So I need a conductors who basically the conductor will able to take the current, because it's they carries the current. So if I want to carry the current, I need conductor. So that is why we place winding on armature for generator. One thing. Now if I am talking about the motor, so in motor we having the electromagnetic induction. What it says, or what it state, a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. It experiences a force. So if I want to make a conductor, I need coils, I need conductors. So that is why in armature we place coils and we give current to them. That is why they behave like what? They behave like conductor. If I am flowing the current in it, they behave like a conductor. Then it is in a magnetic field, it experiences a force, it's a rotary. Though in both cases, my dear student, whether it is motor or generator, I need conductors, I need winding on armature. So these winding are of two types, lap and wave, simplex and duplex. Okay. If I'm talking about the lap winding, though in this lap winding we having so many things. For example, the terms back pitch, front pitch, conductors, resultant pitch, pole pitch. Okay. So these all are things. So we have to apply this. If I'm talking about the what? I'm talking about, my dear student, the resultant pitch. That is YR. So YR is equals to the difference of back pitch and front pitch is equals to 2 in what? In lap winding. If I'm talking about the wave winding, so addition of front pitch and back pitch. Okay. So these are the differences. Now dummy coil. Now the word dummy. One thing is there, my dear student. If I'm talking about the dummy, so dummy means a duplicate, or we can say we are putting something. We have not that one, though we having some alternate of it. If I want some type of thing, for example, I want, I want to eat chocolate, but I don't have chocolate, so I will eat the chocolate biscuit. Okay, so that gives me the satisfaction that I eat chocolate. So that is the, we can say, same thing. So the wave winding is possible only with particular number of conductors and slot combinations. So if I am talking about the wave winding, my dear student, the wave will be like this. So it is possible only with particular number of conductors and slot combination. How many slots we have and particular number of conductors what we have. So it's number of conductors and slot combinations. So in this the wave winding is possible for this only. Means we can like this, do this like this. So it is not always possible to have the standard stampings. Means standard, we can say always we having the slotting standard stamping. In the winding shop consists of the number of slots. Okay, winding shop, we can say a shop consists. Winding shop is just like a shop in which we have finding the winding. So winding shop consists of number of slots according to the design requirement. Winding shop consists of number of slots, okay, which in which we got to showcase it. So number of slots according to the design requirements. According to the desired requirements, which type of design we have. So I have to do this. Okay. Now in such cases, dummy coils are replaced. Now in a simple manner, what I want to tell you, my dear student, we having slots like this. We want to place winding on these slots. So wave winding consists, we can say wave winding only covers the two slots. Two slots are remaining. So what I have to do, we have to make the mechanical balance. Otherwise, rotor not rotate in a accurate direction. Moment of inertia due to. So imbalance will be there. So I have to maintain the balance, means I have to fill all these slots. I have to fill all the slots. So for these slots, or I have to fill in these slots, I need the other coils. That is known as dummy coils. That is known as dummy coils. But it is possible in what? In V5. It is possible in what? V5. So in such cases, dummy coils are employed. In the such cases, dummy coils we are employing, we are using. These coils are placed in the slot to give the machine the mechanical balance. I earlier told you, but they are not electrically connected to rest of iron. Though they are used as a dummy, but they are not playing an important role. So they are dummy. They are making an alternate, means slots are remaining, slots are empty, no windings are there in the slot. So we have to maintain the mechanical balance. Do I have to do what I have to do? I have to make the windings. I have to connect the windings. So if I want to connect the windings in it, I have to connect the windings in it. So the slots will not be the empty. Slot will be always equipped with the windings. So we place dummy coils. I hope you understand. Now, dummy coils. See here, these are the dummy coils. Now the dash portion is shown by the dummy, and these are basically the conductors. See, these are what, my dear student? These are the conductors, and these are the dummy coils. So, for example, waveframe I am placing like this. So, how many slots we have? Count. Start count from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, we having 8 slots. But the wave winding which are using only cover the 6 slots. That to understand this thing, only cover the 6 slots, but the remaining 2 slots are empty. So what I have to do to make the mechanical balance? Otherwise, the rotor will rotate at the filling slot side, always having the weight on that filling slot side. So there will be some, we can say, the mechanical imbalancement or mechanical imbalance will keep. So what I have to do, I have to place the another windings, that is known as dummy coils, dummy windings. So the dummy coils, it is represented by dash. Why it is represented by dash, my dear student? Because no current is flowing in it. Why no current is flowing in it? Because it is not electrically connected, but mechanically, we can say filled it. Mechanically, we are basically put into it to make it balanced, to make it the balance connection. Okay, I hope you understand the line. This, in such cases, dummy coils are employed. This coil are placed in the slots to give the machine the mechanical balance, but they are not electrically connected to the rest of the wire. They are not electrically connected to the rest of wire. So see here, they are electrically connected. That is what is known as conductors. But these are known as the dummy coils. Why these are known as the dummy coils, my dear student? Because we are not connecting it. We are not connecting it. If we are not connecting it, it means they are not playing a role. They are not giving you the output, my dear student. If they are not giving you the output, so what it means? What it means, my dear student? It means it is playing a role which basically maintain the balance. Okay. Now, equalizer connection. Equalizer connection is not necessary in the wave winding, but sometimes it is necessary in lap winding. So what it basically do? Now see, the equivalent circuit of a 4.4 pole dynamo with a simplex winding, the voltage induced in each path is assumed to be both to be same. And now if I am considering a 4-point pole, you can say point pole, I am considering as a 4-pole dynamo, means north south, with a simplex winding, with a simplex winding, simple layer winding. The voltage induced in each path is assumed to be both to be same. Means each path, if I am considering, so both are same. Each path, the voltage induced or EMF induced, and should be if reluctance of each magnetic path is same. And how it is possible? If each magnetic path having the equal reluctance, means if one path having the higher reluctance, lower flux, if another one having the lower reluctance path, then higher flux. So that the lines of flux cut by each inductor of each path are the same. Each inductor of the each path are the same. However, wear of the bearings or deflection of the armature, means wear of we are wearing of bearings or deflection of the armature shaft may cause the armature to be closer to some poles, like this. If I am putting like this, so if due to some wear or we can say the deflection of armature, though this armature will become near to the one pole, near to the one pole. If it is near to the one pole, though the reluctance of that side will become lower, but another side become the higher. So closer to some poles and further from others, thus changing the length of it. Now, yesterday or the previous lecture, I told you one thing, my dear student, that the air gap is should be given like this, like this we can. Why air gap is should be there? Otherwise, it will rotate. Otherwise, if it is not rotate, then we can say friction, rubbing. So, if the rotor is looking like this, so we can say air gap length is increases. Therefore, the reluctance, we can say, changing the length of the air gap, and therefore the reluctance of the magnetic circuit of the poles is not identical. In one part of one pole the reluctance is lower, another pole reluctance higher. So we cannot say it is identical. Okay. So this factor causes the voltage in material making up the magnetic circuit. This factor causes the voltage in the materials making up the magnetic circuit. This voltage making up the magnetic voltage. It changes the reluctance. So some portion we having the higher flux, some portion we having the lower flux. So we have to look into this matter. Now, these factor cause the voltage in each parallel path differ. Now, each parallel path, if we having the voltages like we having the rotor, so we having the voltages in this. So some is closer, some is not closer. So the closer one having the higher flux, non-closer having the lower flux. So the voltage we can see this factor or this factor we can say causes the voltage in each parallel path differ, in each parallel path differ from other. Okay. And the unequal voltage in turn cause flow of circulating current. And unequal voltage in turns we having unequal voltage cause a flow of current, because voltage difference is there. So due to this voltage difference, what will happen? Current will flow. So the flow of circulating current through the windings and the brushes, and undue heating, which we don't want, of armature and waste the power. Armature and waste the power. Undue heating of the armature, because we don't want this, and undue we can say the armature heating will be there, so we have to remove this thing. So undue heating of the armature and waste the power. And what we are doing? Wasting the power. So I hope you understand. Now, to reduce the circulating current due to the unbalanced voltage, we can say in the slots or in the parallel path, to reduce the circulating current, points on winding which should be at the same potential are brought to the same potential by connecting them with the conductor. They are making same potentials in each slot by connecting them with conductor. Making the conductor means no one move to the like this. We make connection like this, not like this, not like this. So make connection with the parallel equal. These connection called equalizer connection. Equalizer word come from equal. So we are making the connection equal. So that is equalizer connections. Confine the circulating current to the winding. That is confined to what? Circulating current to the winding. Equal current will flow. thus reducing the sparking at the brush. Otherwise, the sparking at the brush we have, thus reducing the sparking at the brushes. It is found that the circulating current flow through the equalizer connection set up a magnetic flux of the strong poles. Set up the magnetic flux of strong poles. So we make equalizer connections, equal connection. Through this, we are having the strong poles. Means magnetic field will be more, and it strongs the poles, strengthen the poles, strengthen the poles property, strengthen the poles. We can say strengthen the magnetization in the magnet. Means attraction or repulsion power. It will enhance. It enhance the attraction or repulsion of magnet. Okay. Now this tends to reduce the higher induced voltage and make the voltage of each path more nearly equal. Make the induced voltage and makes the voltage of each path more nearly equal. Nearly to equal. So I hope you understand. Now, a wave winding requires no equalizer connection. This is true because each path has conductors in series. Each path has conductors in series under all poles of dynamo. Under all poles of the dynamo. Any difference in the line of flux from the poles will produce different voltage in inductors. Will produce what? Different voltage in the inductors. So we don't need equalizer connection, equalizer ring in what? Equalizer coil, we can say, in wave band. But both paths will be equally affected and total induced voltage of each path will always be same. First two paths are there. We make dummy coils. We use dummy coils in wave. We don't use dummy coils in lab. But we use equalizer connection for lab binding. But we don't use equalizer connection for the wave binding because it always having the equal. So I hope you understand. Now see, in this is your armature. This is the field magnets we have in the position. Now this is commutator. Here we have the lap binding. These are the commutator segments like this for the lap and for the wave. So wave we have the equal, but for the lap we can't have the equal. So we have to make what? Equalizer connections for lap, but doesn't make it for the wave. So I hope you understand. Now the multiple choice question related to this. Okay. Now resultant pitch in the lap binding. So I already told you YB and YF value depends on YB and YF value. Okay. Now, what is the condition of retrogressive winding? Progressive and retrogressive less than A option. Equalizer rings, or we can say we also called as rings and connection. So rings we needed. So equalizer rings are needed in lap binding. True. Equalizer rings are needed in wave binding. False. What is the relation between number of parallel path A and number of parallel path poles P? Giving one relation that I earlier told you basically. In lap we having A is equals to P, and in wave we having A is equals to 2. So we having one type, that is the first, A is equals to P. Now the armature of DC motor is limited to what? Eddy current loss. Armature, because we have lamination. I'm talking about the armature winding, though we have to understand about the armature. So that is one. The commutator segments are connected to the armature conductors by means of copper lugs. Commutator lugs that is made up of copper lugs. I earlier told you like this. We make a connection like this. Okay. Now next. What will be the value of YB plus Y for a wave binding? It is equal to the half to the double of the YC. Okay. Now number of parallel paths is wave binding are number of parallel paths in wave binding is equals to 2. That is C. A is equals to 2, which I earlier told you. Wave bindings are used in low current application. Doesn't give you higher, so it is always using low current application. I hope you understand. Now these are the references which I earlier basically which from which I took some material to teach you to deliver this lecture. So these are the good books available in our library. You can just go through and refer this book, read this book. You'll find some important things. That is A.E. Garrett, R.K. Shrivastava, and Stephen Chicha. So thank you from my side. This is all about from my side. I hope you understand about the types of DC machines, types of basically DC machines, and the types of binding we use in DC machines. So this is all about this thing. So I hope you understand. So thank you for listening, my dear students. Thank you from my side. Thank you, students.